Survivor Series so far has 5 matches, and they have a 3-hour show to uphold. Okay, the build to Survivor Series has been honestly, in my opinion, lackluster. I know they focused a lot on both the tournament due to Seth Rollins' injury and mostly focusing on the Undertaker's 25 years in WWE, and I get that, but how can you have 5 matches and cover a 3-hour pay per view? Unless you're going to go for all of them to be over 30 minutes to cover up 3 hours, I don't see how this is going to work out. But, I'm also expecting to have Dolph Ziggler versus Tyler Breeze on the show. So there's that. So that makes a total of 6, maybe. But I'm not 100% certain on that 6th match because, well, SmackDown isn't on yet at the time of this video. So we'll see. But, originally going to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. They were going to main event the pay-per-view most likely, or the co-main, or be the second to last match, since this is the Undertaker's pay-per-view pretty much. And to be honest, I had very low expectations for the build-up. I get the match is going to be spectacular because Roman Reigns has been delivering non-stop quality matches since Royal Rumble, as much as people don't want to admit that, as some people don't. But this tournament has been honestly lackluster. It just recently started gaining steam on Monday Night Raw this week. And seriously, are you really putting a Big Show, a jobber in the match in this and expect it to work? No, that goes out to a pretty bad start. You could have established, several guys who were main eventers. Tyler Breeze, I was all for Tyler Breeze being part of the tournament. And how I viewed how they were coincide with several feuds to happen, but I wasn't expecting the tournament matches to happen the way they did. I was honestly expecting the semifinal tournaments to be part of the 1998 Survivor Series, the Deadly Games. That would have been more appropriate to cover a 3-hour pay-per-view, along with the Undertaker and Kane versus the Wyatt family, which I will get to in a bit. Now, so far this tournament just recently started getting steam with Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Neville versus Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler. They all started getting steam on this and started adding fuel to the fire. And these matches were awesome in their own right. Cesaro and Roman Reigns tore the house down. As much as people don't want to admit that Roman Reigns actually did do some great matches with Cesaro in that bout. But I'm not going to go and defend Reigns on this. This isn't the focus. Now, heading into this match, we're all expecting Roman Reigns to pull a rock on everybody and turn heel. That's what everyone is saying, oh, that's going to happen. Roman Reigns is going to join the Authority, and I'm all for Roman Reigns joining the dark side. I've been all for it. Especially since Roman Reigns gets to be more of himself as a heel, in my opinion, and he finally gets to say, I'll get to talking about Roman Reigns' early 2015 interviews in the Thoughts on Roman Reigns 2015 video, which I'm going to highlight some points about Roman Reigns during what happened during this year, but I'll get to that when I get to that. So, there's the championship match. Let's get to Paige versus Charlotte, a feud that I completely forgot about it. This Diva Revolution has so far been so lackluster. and it seems like they were at this desperation point trying to add some fuel left in the fire. So like, okay, they had several key steps, right? They have it main event the show of Raw, close out the show with a contract signing to give this feel of importance. However, they used it on the final week of Raw before Survivor Series, so I felt like they should have built that up prior. And they also should have added more personal emotion, like they added into the contract signing. Like, it just felt rushed to me. And then they pulled the infamous death angle tactic, where they go ahead and insult the dead. Like, I have never been all for death angles in wrestling. Like, I get the honoring this guy, like saying, I dedicate this match to the memory of Eddie Guerrero, I dedicate this match to Nick Bockwinkel, I dedicate this match to this guy, this guy, this guy, to Owen Hart and all that. But when you start an angle and start to, mock the dead, like Big Boss Man did with Big Show's dad, who I do know died way prior to that, so prior to Big Show's feud with Big Boss Man. So I get Big Show was all for it, but I just never felt comfortable seeing death angles like this happen. It just felt wrong and felt kind of uncomfortable. And I was really against the Paul Bear angle they did with Undertaker and CM Punk. Like, the guy just died a week ago, and then all of a sudden you're doing this insulting angle against him. Like, okay, I get the concept. I get Undertaker is dedicating the memory of Paul Bear and dedicating it to his memory. But when you have someone dress up as him, use the urn and pour what is pretty much, in storyline terms, his ashes, yeah, that's kind of uncomfortable. Like, some people, like, everyone knows the concept of death. We all have it. And I bet there are people who feel uncomfortable. Like, some people express, oh, I'm not uncomfortable about it. Some, like, okay, fine, to each their own. But there are a lot of people that are uncomfortable about it. And don't get me started on the PC crowd. Let's not get into that. But there are people who have reasons to feel uncomfortable about this, and I was also uncomfortable when they mentioned. I can't remember this Charlotte's brother's name. I don't remember his name, but Paige said this line of dialogue, which, okay, yep, they went that route. They went that route to Unite Fire to the Divas Revolution, didn't they? Where she said that your brother did not have fight in him. And in this case, they're talking about how Charlotte's brother was suffering from drug problems and legal issues. And he had just started in the wrestling business, and he just recently passed away. And, okay, I get Charlotte's point of view, dedicating this match in memory of her brother, but I was not for when Paige decided to say that Charlotte's brother did not have fight in him, and basically pointing that he is to blame, that he himself is to blame for his own death, and like, okay, that's kind of uncomfortable. Like, ew. Like I said, I've never been for death angles. Even during the Attitude Era, I was never for that, and that made me hate Katie Vick all the more. Since not only are they putting in death in this, even though it's a fictional character they put in, since Katie Vick never existed, but then they did the necrophilia incident, and let's just say that was the stupidest angle in the history of wrestling. But yeah, I felt very uncomfortable when they brought that up. Like, I was like, okay, Vince, can you do me this favor and please go fuck yourself? Because you can't honestly be all for this. Oh wait, you were all for, let's have Randy Orton say Eddie Guerrero's in hell, even though everyone else was against it. Like, yeah, like, that's a true report. Like, a former creative writer said, everyone was all against Randy saying Eddie Guerrero was in hell, and Vince McMahon was the only one that was pushing it. Every party was against it except for Vince. Don't get me started on that. But, and then there's the, okay, now, Paige and Charlotte, that's done. Now let's get to the Brothers of Destruction versus the Wyatt family. An opportunity to bring up Finn Balor and possibly James Storm, since they're the only dark characters I can think of, to do a 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. And WWE dropped the ball again. Wow, WWE, you really suck at this. You really suck at this gold mine of opportunity and not go with it. You really suck at this. Like you get it right sometimes, but most of the time you suck at it. Like, you fail. So, this storyline where Bray Wyatt is obsessed in collecting the powers of The Undertaker and Kane, basically saying, hey, can I have your pyrotechniques? Okay. Okay, it is cheesy, but I get the concept. Like, Undertaker and Kane have been known as supernatural characters and are pretty much the only characters that were able to control pyro at will in their point of view. So I get the Bray Wyatt is obsessed with wanting the pyro as well. But here's my major problem. Like, they had everything going forward right, like the kidnappings of Undertaker and Kane, and also siphoning their demonic souls. Now, everything was going forwardly right. But then they brought back The Undertaker and Kane and they act like nothing happened. And I felt like, okay, you know how you could have corrected this? You could have made The Undertaker and Kane lose their demonic souls and make them human. You know, bring back the American Badass and bring a human version of Kane. A less powerful Kane. Like a maskless Kane, maybe? Like, I felt like that should have been the angle they went with. Like, bring back the American Badass, the human version of The Undertaker. Like, show that Bray Wyatt did take their souls, but it was their demonic souls, not their entire souls. That would have been awesome. To see the American Badass come back, and to see a human version of Kane. And don't say Corporate Kane is a human version of Kane. It's just Kane just wearing a suit. Not a human version of Kane. That's not Kane. But I felt like they should have went with bringing back the American Badass and a human version of Kane to give this sense of, yeah, Bray Wyatt took their souls. He took their demonic souls. That would have made the angle work. But no, they just played straightforward and safe. And once again, WWE dropped the ball on that. They could have brought back the American Badass for the 25th anniversary. Like, no one's going to complain because it's The Undertaker, so either way, it works. So, okay, and I was like, okay, you dropped the ball on that, but so long as we get our fatal 4-on-4 8-man tag team Survivor Series match, I'll be okay with it. You son of a bitch, you didn't go with it. Like, okay, here was my best bets. My best bet for who would team up with The Undertaker and Kane would be Finn Balor, who learned from The Undertaker how to do his entrance. So and plus Finn Balor can go into his demon mode with the painting and whatnot. And my other bet was either Daniel Bryan, who has a personal issue with the Wyatt family, and has teamed with The Undertaker and Kane before against The Shield, or James Storm, since he could go back to his crazy cult gimmick, and that could have kicked off a Bray Wyatt James Storm feud, which would be awesome. But no, they just went the safe route and just said, tag team match, there's nothing we can do. It's not like we have these other supernatural characters that we could possibly use. Oh, we do? Well, screw them. We don't give a damn what these people want. So, like, they had, like, so all this potential, all this great potential here, and they ruined it. Like, I'm still looking forward to the match. I'm just curious about who's going to be the partner, the two partners from the Wyatt family, since they didn't reveal it on Monday Night Raw. And I'm betting that Luke Harper is going to be one of them. I don't know who the second one is. It's either going to be Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, or Braun Strowman. But yeah, it just felt like they dropped the ball with this. A chance to bring back the American Badass and a human version of Kane. A Survivor Series, a traditional match against Finn Balor, Undertaker, Kane, and maybe Daniel Bryan or James Storm to take on the Wyatt family. That would have been awesome. But no, they just played it safe. They played it safe, and they can't go back on it now. Like, they might pull a swerve at Survivor Series, but still, they kind of ruined the build since they didn't bring back the human versions of Kane and The Undertaker. Like, we never seen a human version of Kane. Like I said, and Corporate Kane doesn't count since they still refer to him as the devil's favorite demon. And the Bray Wyatt and the final build they had at Monday Night Raw where the Druids now serve Bray Wyatt. Okay, I actually was all for that. Like, have the Druids join Bray Wyatt's call to show that Bray Wyatt is gaining more power over The Undertaker and Kane. But that's just it. It would have worked if Kane and The Undertaker were human and not their demonic personas. That would have worked. The Druids still see loyalty in The Undertaker, but then reveal that they are actually aligned with Bray Wyatt, saying they see him as the new Lord of Darkness, and Undertaker is a human version of himself. That would have worked. But no, they just played it safe. And that's really pathetic. Now, we're finally expecting a Roman Reigns heel turn to pull a rock on everybody like they did in 1998. And that might actually solve a lot of problems, such as who's going to be Seth Rollins' replacement as the dominant heel. Like, they could obviously go with Kevin Owens, but that might be a disastrous idea considering how popular Kevin Owens is and how hateful Roman Reigns has gotten since he beat Cesaro, which I was all for since I love both Cesaro and Roman Reigns, and I didn't care who won because I see two ways this goes about. Cesaro wins, Roman Reigns joins the dark side. Roman Reigns wins, he joins the dark side either way. So, either way, Roman Reigns joins the dark side and takes Triple H's offer at the last minute. But yeah, the Survivor Series has a lackluster build, had a lot of big ideas on this, and could have pulled some swerves, but they ultimately just went the safe route. So I'm hoping that they go with Roman Reigns' heel turn, joins the dark side pretty much with the Authority, and Triple H wins Palpatine Impersonator of the Year. Because that's the vibe I keep getting. Like, Roman Reigns and Triple H are playing Anakin and Palpatine in Star Wars, and that's just hilarious to me. So, there's that. Well, everyone, this was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate, and stay tuned for more.